finish before you give me any kind of rebuttal.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what you did, it feels very deceitful. It feels very backhanded. It feels very devious and malicious. And to be quite honest, they're probably going to laugh at that because they told me to put that out there so that people wouldn't be going to the Dallas County Criminal Integrity Unit and questioning them. They had several phone calls and they had a person walk into their office.
Notice what she just said in this part of the phone call. She says that she was telling the public that to reach out to the Innocence Project because people were constantly calling the Crime Integrity Union of Dallas, and that someone walked in there about the Darlie case. But that's not what she said in her video. She didn't say, I need you to stop going to the Dallas Crime Integrity Unit and just go to the Innocence Project.
Because they told me to put that out there so that people wouldn't be going to the Dallas County Criminal Integrity Unit and questioning them. They had several phone calls and they had a person walk into their office.
That's not what she said. So she's changing up, just like on the last defense of the 2020 thing, where she's telling the public that the medical people wanted to keep her in intensive care because of the amount of blood she lost. When we know that testimony from Santos was, had it not been for the extenuating circumstance of her being attacked and cops and everything, he would have sewed her up and sent her home. Okay.
So the Innocent Project wants everything funneled through them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So by you calling them and telling them, you should check out her TikTok. She's not doing anybody any favor. They're watching my TikToks, first of all.
Good.
I've discussed it with them. I have received permission to speak about Darlies' case.
Good.
I do not talk about anything that's going on in their hands. I don't know about what's going on in their hands. The only thing I talk about is what's gone on as public knowledge prior to them sealing the case. Okay?
Yeah.
So nothing I say is secret. There's nothing that they would be upset about. I'm not representing her in a bad light. I'm doing my very best to be a good sister and to keep her name relevant so that people know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to end up being a shitstorm. And when Darlie gets out, I want to be ahead of it.
Well,
make sure that everybody understands that we never stopped fighting for her.
Right. Oh, yeah.
We investigated it as best as we could, and that unfortunately people like you continue to put out these nasty messages and these hateful, awful opinions about me and my family.
I haven't. Danelle, I as of late, I've been nice.
That message you put out would be received by others as being helpful or being civil. No, it makes you look like a total asshole.
If that's the way you feel, I mean, I understand that, we're on different sides. I don't think you guys are assholes for having different opinions. I don't think.
Well, we don't call people and tattle on you.
I wasn't. Well, how was I tattling if they already told you to do that?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what it looks like. They know I did that. They asked me to do that. There is absolutely no reason for anybody to feel like they need to tattle on me. I'm a grown-ass woman.
Yep.
I can do whatever the fuck I want.
I never.
I don't need you
right.
to tell me what I should and shouldn't do.
Did I tell you? Did I tell you? Did I tell you you couldn't do something?
Brian, what was your purpose in doing that?
The same purpose that you have in spreading information about your sister's innocence.
And what is that? Tell me what that is.
Well, your purpose is that you believe she's innocent.
And what was your purpose in calling the Innocent Project and trying to make me look bad?
Yeah.
What was your purpose in that, Brian?
Well, I'll tell you, I honestly, in my opinion, I don't believe that they asked anybody to put that out on social media.
Okay, so now you're calling me a lie.
No. What I said is I don't believe that they asked.
That's exactly what you said.
No, I said I don't believe that.
I honestly, okay.
I don't believe in hell either, but you know what I'm saying?
You don't have to believe in believe in or what you don't believe in.
Yep.
I'm doing what I have to do. I'm doing what is right.
Yep.
I'm being a good sister. I'm being a good citizen.
Absolutely.
Nobody should be wrongfully convicted and spend 27 years on death row for a crime they didn't do
I agree.
because of shoddy police work,
I agree.
overzealous attorney, and shitty forensics.
I agree. I would agree with you.
Completely unacceptable. And if me talking about my sister's case brings light to the fact that jurors really need to be educated before they step foot into that fucking box, then I have accomplished one thing in my life.
Well, I'm not here to stop you. I'm not.
But what was your goal? Like, why? What were you trying to do?
Well, it draws attention.
It feels like you're calling them in an attempt to get me in trouble or to make me look bad. That's what it feels like.
What it does on my end is it draws attention to what's being said about the case. It draws attention to non-supporters. My goal is.
It makes you look crazy. It makes all of y'all look crazy.
Okay.
You get lumped into that group of non-supporters, and it makes you look like a fanatic lunatic.
Danelle, I used to be on the other end of it, and when your mom would ask us to call the Texas Innocence Project, we would do that. And I didn't feel crazy when I did that on the support end. I didn't.
Because you're looking for support, Bryan. You're looking for support. You're begging for help. But what you're doing is begging for somebody's attention. You're begging for a response from me. You want to feel important by calling the Innocent Project. Just stop.
Well, Danelle,
Bryan.
if I wanted, Danelle, we have an open Facebook messaging. If I wanted a response from you, I would just message you. Haven't been bothering you.
Why didn't you then, Bryan?
Because if I would have messaged you and said, why are you doing that?
You feel like you have control over something.
I don't.
You are a narcissist.
I don't have any control over anything.
You really don't.
I don't.
Absolutely not.
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to get you to stop. You have.
What are you trying to do? What was your goal? Because
I'm relishing in.
Right now, it feels very backhanded.
Well.
It feels very hateful. It feels very deceitful. It makes you look like a complete jerk. And I really thought that we were past that. I thought that we were at a level that we could communicate.
Well, Danelle, we can't. We are communicating.
Absolutely, you're not a rational person. If you can't come to me first and say, "Hey, what's the deal with this?"
Okay, I'll give you an example. I left it. I tagged you the other day about something Darren said, and I said, Danelle, can you explain this? I came to you and I asked you. You never answered. You never answered.
Because I'm a fucking busy person.
Right.
I have 4 kids.
You're not busy
I have
today.
a full-time job that takes 50+ hours a week. I work my fucking ass off.
Right.
I keep my house clean. I feed my
Right.
kids. I'm busy.
Right.
If I have 1 hour a day.
Yes, ma'am. That's been there for several days, but yet you have time for this phone call.
I do not find it amusing or entertaining to bicker with you about something, and I'm not going to comment on things that have happened after the case because it doesn't matter.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not relevant to me. What Darren said is not relevant to me. What Grandma Darlie said is not relevant to me. I'm not defending anybody. I'm not sticking up for anybody. I'm not making any kind of theories for anybody. It is not my job to do that.
Well, Danelle, what I asked you is why that you sat on the last defense and said that they put her in.
You were mad because I didn't respond to something you tagged me in, so you called the innocent.
No, I never said I was mad about that. You were saying I should have asked you first, and I've given you an example of where I've asked you something and you didn't reply.
Did you ask me in my messenger?
No.
Did you say anything to me in my messenger?
No, and I told you publicly that I would never message you. I'm not going to bother you. Yeah.
There's this thing called respect.
Right.
Whenever you have respect for each other, you can communicate at a healthy level, and things like this don't happen.
No.
But when you are not respectful and you go behind my back,
It's not behind. Danelle, I didn't go behind your back. I'm very aware that you're watching my videos. I'm aware of that. It's not behind your back.
I'm not watching your videos, actually.
Well,
You sent it to me.
Okay.
Because you're mentioning me in a video where you're calling the Innocent Project of New York.
Right. Well.
I don't understand
Okay.
why you felt like that was helpful in any way to anybody.
It's not helpful to your cause. Well, let me tell you.
Exactly. You're trying purposely to be deceitful and malicious. That was malicious, sir.
Well, I apologize for that, but I did have a question for you, that you didn't answer is like when you were on the last defense, you said that Darlie was moved into ICU because of her blood loss, and that's why they put her in there, and that's different from the testimony. You have reminded us both. You've reminded us.
Let me explain something else to you, Brian. The testimony from the medical professionals is about as valuable as the turd in the toilet.
Okay. Well, but the other day you were telling me I needed to look at the testimony and match it with the record, so I'm confused. That's all.
Yeah, you should. I want you to compare the two because Darlie had a bleeding vessel in her neck that required the surgeon to hold pressure on it. Dr. Dillon says profusive bleeding, active bleeding. Like there's no doubt that she was actively bleeding. They said she had a traumatic anemia.
Right.
Meaning she had a blood loss from a
Yes,
trauma.
ma'am.
Okay.
But they also both said she had no blood transfusion. And they both testified that had it not been for the extenuating circumstances of the attack that she just went through, that they would have sewed her up and let her home. Okay, so
No, sir.
they did.
Absolutely not.
They did testify to that, though. That's what I'm telling you.
Do you think that they would have placed an arterial line in her left wrist if she was stable and could have gone home that same day?
Janelle, I'm telling you,
I'm telling you, Brian. No, stop.
I'm telling you the testimony.
Let me finish this because this is where we're having this problem.
Yep.
The testimony is absolutely the opposite of what all those medical records show.
Okay.
All of it. Medical records are the legal standard. That's the documentation of what was happening in the moment when it happened.
Okay.
That is prior to any prosecutor saying anything to them. All their fucking meetings, don't tell me that didn't persuade their comments and their answers to those questions, because for damn sure it did. I know exactly how that works. I've been prepared for things like this as a nurse. I know how it goes.
Yep.
I know how it goes.
Right.
I'm a fucking nurse,
Right.
Brian.
I know that. And I saw how.
To be considered an expert witness for nursing.
Well, I saw how you described the word superficial after we argued about it, and I found testimony where they meant minor wound. And
It is not. No, that is not at all how they use the word.
that is how they used the word.
Use it to say that her wound was superficial.
Yes, they
They
did,
say
man.
that the incision was superficial to the strap muscles.
They did in that one
means
report.
that it did not puncture the strap
Okay, well,
muscles.
Danelle, I've got a video up with their testimony that says that it's super.
Here's what their testimony
Well, you're
is.
saying that they never said it. But
Attorney tells them to.
but you're saying that they never said it. I'm telling you they did. And if the district.
I don't care what they said. In the
Okay,
testimony,
right.
their testimony
Right.
is completely opposite
Right,
of the medical
right.
record.
So,
And medical
what?
records are
Okay,
the legal standard.
okay. Take a breath for a second. Okay. I'm not trying. It's not a game to me. Take a breath for a second. No, take a breath for a second and give me.
You're just a spectator. You think it's funny.
No, I don't. Give me a second. Just catch a breath. Well, I'm not trying to say that my son is innocent.
Do you think that has ever worked on any woman in the history of women? Calm down, Janelle. No.
Well, I know what else doesn't work is me yelling at you and say, "Let me talk."
No, you're right.
Right. So I'm just asking you. Can you hear me? Hear me for a moment. If Greg Davis and the District of Dallas
Hold
have.
on a second. I'm losing you.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I'm too far away from my internet source. All right.
Now,
Here's what,
give me just a second.
Else, before we have this conversation, I'm gonna preface this with I'm a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a registered nurse for almost 19 years.
Yep.
I have seen every kind of nursing from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I've been involved in care from top to bottom. I have seen how nurses operate. I know how they work. I know how medical words work. I know terminology. I know exactly what they're saying in every single one of their notes. I don't have to go look it up or Google words. I know every single fucking word that they've documented. I know everything they've said. I've read their testimony. I understand what you're referencing, but you're missing the point. The point of all of it is the medical record is the legal standard.
Okay.
That's what happened at the time.
Okay.
Whatever their opinion laws after the fact has clearly been affected by the district attorney and all of their lovely meetings.
And now,
You will never convince me otherwise.
now, on the other hand, now, if the district attorney in the city of Dallas have painted this picture that looks so clear to people who are on a different side than you, then my anger, if you guys find her exonerated and that she's proven innocent like you guys want, which I hope you do, my anger would go towards the district attorney's office and the state of Texas, who put an innocent person in jail for 27 years and let a killer run free. That's where my mind is at. But the picture that they're painting, it makes it, to me, it's a solid guilt. Now, you have to paint a picture of...
Exactly what they wanted.
Right.
They wanted to paint this picture of solid guilt.
Right.
That
So,
was their goal. They
right.
had nothing else, Brian. They had very, very circumstantial, very blow smoke up somebody's ass evidence. Anything they had could be twisted to support her original claims. Every single piece of it. Not a single bit of it can be undisputed. The only thing that can be undisputed is that unidentified bloody fingerprint and the other fingerprints, 85A, 85J, every single one of them unidentified. Every single one of them in the crime scene.
Get them identified. You know, I'm not against you. I just don't...
I wish we could, Brian, but it's not just like you go to the courthouse and say, hey, will you run this for me? No, it's tied up in the legal system. Anything that you do, anything that you process, anything that you want to even discuss or look at has to have an order through the court. You can't just say, hey, we think this should be tested.
Right, I know that.
And if they don't want to test it, then they kick it back to the next level, or they push it over to the next level, or they don't even read it and just say denied. The plaintiff has not convinced or met the burden of proof, or whatever their verbiage is that day.
Yeah.
You don't have control over anything
Nope.
in the legal system.
Oh, I know. And I don't look. I know it's personal for you, but I do not hate your
Very
family.
personal.
I don't hate your family, but you're gonna have people that challenge you when you come on social media, and I'm just gonna.
I'm not worried about that.
Right. And I'm gonna be one of those people, so I'm gonna piss you off no matter what I do. I'm gonna piss you off.
You don't have to, though. You really
I don't
have
want to, but just as much as you.
Here's how we handled it. If you don't want to piss me off, then be respectful.
I am.
Open conversation without telling me I'm a liar. See my point of view every once in a while and say, okay, I understand what you're saying there, but I disagree. Fine.
Okay.
You disagree.
Okay.
We don't have to agree on anything.
Right, and if
I don't care if you think the sky's purple. I really don't.
no, Danelle, if you're so 100% sure that she's innocent and you can prove it, then we can discuss it on a panel on my live respectfully.
I'm not interested in getting you viewers.
But what? No, I'm not. No. I don't make any money off of this. I don't.
Money
I don't.
or not.
No.
I don't know that your motives are pure. You definitely are a bitter, hateful person, and that is demonstrated by what you just did today.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no benefit for anybody in what you were attempting to do.
Well,
Now, what you did is laughable because
Okay.
they specifically instructed me
well, thank you.
to do that.
Well, if I'm doing stupid things, then it shouldn't make you mad. It should only make Darlie look more innocent.
It does.
Okay.
They know. Everybody knows there's these groups, and these groups are so devoted to hating on people, and it happens in every case. I don't know why Darlies is so much worse than everybody else's.
I'm not hating on you, Danelle. I've said good things about you, even if I have a different opinion. It's like, how can somebody hate you?
I don't know. I'm doing my very best.
Well, we
to do
don't.
what I'm supposed to do.
We don't.
We don't what?
We don't hate. I don't. I can't speak for other people, but I don't have any hate.
People definitely do.
And I've admitted that people are snappy at you in my group, so I'm not going to do that. I don't care what you say to me, how mad you get at me. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not doing it. I made that promise.
You disrespected me by calling me Innocent Project, Brian.
Well,
That's disrespectful.
well, if I have it, my opinion might disrespect. My opinion might be disrespectful.
It's still
Yes.
disrespect. Doing things like that is disrespectful because you could have come to me and said, hey, what's this about? And I could have explained it to you, and then you could have called them, and then you wouldn't have sounded so fucking dumb.
Well, if I sound look, you've snapped at me a couple times, you cursed at me a few times, and you calling me hateful. And I have been nothing but respectful to you during this conversation.
What you did today was the definition of hateful. I'm not sure where I don't know your background. I don't know how you were raised. I don't know what you understand to be kind and what you understand to be respectful. But I'm going to say this to you. If you want to have any kind of communication with an individual, you have to be respectful in the sense that you go to them with your questions instead of going behind their back and purposely trying to get them in trouble.
I don't know how you think that's behind your back when I put it on a social media for everybody to see. I didn't do anything behind your back. I'm not sneaky.
You called them without talking to me about that. When that call was directly about me, you called them to tattletale on me is what it sounds like.
Right.
That's how everybody is perceiving it.
Well, good.
Why is that good?
Because I'm on the non-support side and you're on the support side. That's the difference.
Okay.
And it's going to be frustrating for you. You should be able to...
You really have no idea. And it is not about being frustrating. It is really not about that. It's about wasting time. Why? Why do you think that your voicemail is valuable enough to waste their time? Like that, and why do you think that my time is that you deserve any of my time?
Well, let's see
I
that...
shouldn't have to defend my mother to you.
You are not having... You absolutely are not defending your mother.
Asking me, why did Darlie say this? Why did Grandma Darlie say that? Or Big Darlie, or Mama Darlie, or whatever you call her. I don't care what they have done or said.
Right.
I realize
Right.
that things have been said that were in poor taste. And I'm sure that she has misquoted things in the past. We have been fed information from people that turns out it wasn't as useful as we thought it was. And things fell flat. And
Right.
in those moments, I'm sure that she said things because, first of all, we believe in Darlie. We know that she's innocent and the justice system will always prevail, right? That's what we're thinking.
I hope so.
Yet, here we are 27 years later and we're still begging for somebody to see the truth in this.
Yeah.
It is so disheartening to know that there's a whole group of people out there that refuse to see any signs of intelligence. None. Zero. And I'm starting to think that the lower... I'm not even going to say that. You know, it is what it is. I can't convince everybody, and I realize
Do you think that...
you will never be convinced.
Danelle... Oh, I can't... Oh, but I can be convinced because remember, I was a supporter.
What does
Do you
it
think
do
that... Do you think...
convince you?
Do you think that everybody that believes Dallas' justice system and believes in her conviction is dumb?
I never said that I think anybody is dumb.
Do you think we're stupid and ignorant?
I think that people refuse to see the truth.
That would be...
People refuse to, or maybe it's that I don't understand the evidence. I keep getting quoted that the fingerprint had female DNA on it, so it had to have come from a female.
No.
That's not how that works.
No.
And that's my point in all of this. People don't understand
Right.
evidence. They don't understand that only 1% of all crime scenes have useful DNA.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. Well, let me give you an example.
Everybody wants to know where's the evidence of the intruder. Well, unless they were shot or stabbed,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to be bleeding.
Right.
And unless they ejaculated right on Darlie,
Right.
they're not going to be seen.
Right. Right.
And unless they spit, chewed gum, or had a cigarette while they were attacking her, there's not going to be those items.
Right. Right. I agree.
Fingerprints were
Let-
collected. There was a lot of fingerprints collected, and they were never processed properly because Mr. James Cron didn't think they were useful.
Let me ask you something.
That.
Let me ask you, as far as like when Greg Davis said, if you step out that window, you'll soon come to a flower patch with mulch. Do you understand that to mean that he said there was mulch under the window that wasn't disturbed?
Well, he actually did say that the mulch under the window was undisturbed multiple times.
No, he
So,
didn't.
yes, that,
No, he
yes,
didn't.
he did.
I've got it clipped
Yes,
exactly what he
certainly
said.
did.
I've got
I
it.
know what he said.
I do
He said
too.
it multiple times in multiple different interviews on multiple different platforms.
No, he
He
didn't.
said it multiple times.
Please send those to me. What he says is, What he says is, remember, Greg Davis went through the scene and he saw that. What he says is, as if you're to assume that the intruder left out of this window, he would immediately step into a flower bed full of mulch. And there is a flower bed full of mulch off to the left, but
it is not immediately under any window.
Right? No, he said you would very quickly.
Okay, here's the deal, Bryan. You're getting into semantics. This is not evidence of anything. This is you trying to find an inconsistency in.
No, it's just that I was talking to a supporter about this the other day on the live. She said he most definitely did say it was directly under the window. He never said that.
What you just said says directly under the window.
He said you will very quickly step into a flower bed with mulch in it. And very quick, he didn't.
The entire sentence.
What? The entire sentence is the dust on the windowsill was undisturbed. But if you were to assume that an intruder came out this way, you would very quickly step into a flower patch full of mulch. And the reason that he would step in the mulch is because from the window to the gate is 23 feet. And from the window to the sidewalk to the gate is 35 feet. And that was said in testimony.
And that's irrelevant because people are going to go through the path of least resistance. There's flower beds, there's plants, there was a chair, there's stuff right there.
Yeah, there was two chairs. There was two chairs directly in front of the window that would have probably led someone away from the sidewalk, in my opinion.
I disagree. I think that if you look at it, there's nothing in front of the window when they arrived. It was a clear path to the sidewalk instead of going around those other chairs and then going back through that mulch. That makes no sense. People are going to go down the sidewalk. It's a natural instinct to stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I would assume. But it's not a natural instinct to climb in somebody's window and kill their two kids. So why would they have a natural instinct on the way out?
Because they were not thinking about killing kids when they went in there. I do not think that they went in there with that intention. I don't think that was in their plan at all. I think that they were frazzled when they left and they were hauling ass and they went right around that sidewalk to the gate. It was an easy trail. It was not hard to get from that sidewalk right to the gate.
So that would so going down that sidewalk to the gate would be a reason why there wouldn't be any footprints in the mulch.
Exactly.
That's exactly what Greg Davis was saying.
There's no footprints in the mulch.
Right. I know. I'm not trying to trip you up. But the thing of it is, Danelle, is you're always going to be pissed at me. But as strong
I'm trying not to. I'm trying to have a conversation with you right now, but I kind of have a bad taste in my mouth after you go behind my back and try to tattle on me.
I get a bad taste in my mouth when I see that you're putting TikToks up about people that are haters that have no lives.
And did I say something that was wrong?
I have a life, and I don't hate.
Videos. Did I say something that was wrong?
I don't hate.
Did I attack you or did I attack any of them?
Well, that's a whole group of people that I've been in the groups with them for 12 years.
And they're your good buddies, and you're going to feel like you need to defend them, even though what they're doing and how they're acting is completely irrational.
I tell you one thing about non-supporters, if we put something up that's incorrect, we will correct each other. Supporters don't do that.
So why can't you correct them when they have bad behavior? Call somebody's job and try to get them fired.
I've had supporters do that to me. I've had supporters do that to me. I have.
I have never once.
No. Oh, you haven't? You want me to put those videos up? Everybody knows the Darlies supporters came after me. We had to move.
I've never met somebody that has that much energy into hating somebody outside of that group of people that Pam Collins has cultivated and manipulated.
I can show you a Darlies supporter who's putting up my job, my human resources director, and telling them to call in and get me fired. I can show you 2 times that Darlies supporters did that to me, but I'm not blaming that on you or your family. Because you guys.
Why are we having this conversation?
Well, you're talking about. You're talking about.
It gives you a bad taste in your mouth whenever I call those haters out for being disrespectful or rude or having misinformation or correcting what they're saying when they're saying something
I just don't think.
Only time I have done any kind of video in regards to somebody's comment, it's to either correct their information that they have that is incorrect, or to call them out on being a bully, because that's not acceptable. We are grown adults. There's no reason to bully anybody. If you disagree, move on.
Yep, there's gonna. Right, and there's going to be none of that on my end. I can't say that you won't be frustrated with the things I say.
Bryan, you called the Innocent Project to try to get me in trouble. That very much fits in that same
Well, now I wasn't thinking that you would get in trouble because you said that they told you to call. So if you told
you didn't know that when you called them, though.
I heard you say. I heard you.
Funneling people through to the Innocent Project, and I know that blah blah. She's making them look good. Blah blah. Whatever.
I feel like you're kind of making her look guilty, honestly.
Give me an example of what I have said that
Well,
made her look guilty.
That's what I'm going to be doing in video form. What I'm going to be doing is taking.
Of course you are.
Because
you're trying to discredit me, and you're trying to make me look dumb.
I'm not. No, I don't think you're dumb. I don't think you're dumb.
Do shit like that.
No,
If you have a difference of opinions, say your difference of opinions, but don't
yeah. I haven't, Danelle. I've said nice things about
That's
you.
what you just said. You just said your next video is going to be about me.
No. When you say show me something that I've said wrong, what I do is I look, and if you say something that's wrong, I'll take what you said, and I'll go to the file.
Tell me what I have said.
Well,
Instead of making a video for your own clout to make yourself feel important.
Well, first of all, you said that the superficial wounds were not described as minor wounds, and I found them several places in the testimony. They were.
I said that in regards to the medical records. I've said it every time in the medical records.
You were just telling me that they lied. You were just telling me that these doctors lied, and they didn't do that. They never said that.
No, sir. What I said was they were manipulated to have those kind of opinions, but the medical records say otherwise.
And what the testimony, right? And you sat on there and said that they put her in ICU because of her blood loss. She didn't lose that much blood. She was only in the ICU according to their testimony.
Okay.
She can rest.
Let's break this down, Bryan. Let's break this down. Okay. She was attacked at say 2:30.
Yes.
Or 2:29.
Right.
She gets to the emergency room at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the ER for 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're looking at 45 minutes that she was bleeding.
Right.
The ambulance, when the EMS got there on scene, they had bandages and they were trying to occlude the bleeding.
Right.
They were trying to put pressure on
right.
so that she wouldn't bleed to death. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 3 months prior, she had a CBC drawn in her doctor's office. Her hemoglobin was 14 point something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
14 points.
When she got to the emergency room, it was 11. The stat CBC that they did, it was 11.
Mm-hmm.
So she had already lost 3 points of her hemoglobin.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that blood loss, it does not reflect immediately in a CBC.
Mm-hmm.
So you usually wait 12 hours to repeat that CBC, or sometimes 24 hours, and you'll repeat it several times to see where it trends.
Mm-hmm.
The last documentation that I have seen of her CBC was that it's in court testimony that she had lost an additional 2 points of blood from the time she arrived in the ED. So that.
But you said the testimony was wrong. How's the testimony wrong when I say it, but it's right when you say it? You said their testimony.
That is not an opinion, Bryan. That is not an opinion.
Well, their opinion was that they would. They're both. No, their opinion was that they sewed her up and sent her home. That's what they said. Okay. Okay, so one part of the testimony, they're not telling the truth, and another part of the testimony...
No, that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that they're giving opinions, and they're deviating from the medical record. This is a legal standard. There's a big difference. Their opinions were, at that point in time, during the trial, that they felt like her wounds could have been superficial or self-inflicted.
No,
they said their opinion.
They said they were
only their opinion.
The doctor when Mosty had the Dr. Dill on the stand, and he was trying to say the superficial could mean the direction of a wound or a placement of a wound, and Dr. Dilwan said, "Nope, you're using that word in the wrong way." That's exactly what he said, and I've got it up. And now he's a doctor, and you're a nurse, so so that doctor is lying. No, that's not his opinion. Okay, so his opinion was Mosty described superficial the same way you did. He did. Now I can't, because you said, and I'm a nurse, I know, but that was a doctor that said. And so does that doctor not know? He said you're using that word in a wrong way. That's exactly what he said, Danelle. That's what the doctor said. That's in testimony. Okay, well, what he said in testimony was, Mosty asked Dilwan, can you use the word superficial to mean directional or a place of the wound? And Dr. Dilwan said, no, you're using that word in the wrong way. That's a doctor that said that.
Well, that doctor did not understand the question.
So no, he laughed at the question after that. I understand what people say. When he said,
you don't understand the context of it.
No, I understand he was asked, can superficial mean directional? And he said, no, you're using the word the wrong way, and he went and described it as abrasive minor wounds right after that, Danelle. And he's a doctor.
When he used the words in the medical records, he used them in directional senses. Go read that. The only place in the entire medical record where it says superficial is when they're discussing in the operative report that the incision was superficial to the strap muscles.
And according to superficial to the strap muscle, meaning right above it. And I guess, but everywhere I've looked, but that doctor said that they did not mean it that way, that those wounds were minor and abrasive, and there was one wound that they just left alone because it was superficial. That's exactly what he said.
Yes, the one beside, the one that went to the bone.
He said because it was He said because it was superficial. He didn't say it was superficial to anything. Wait a minute. You said, I'm not saying that wound was not superficial, meaning that wound was not minor. Right?
No, I'm saying that wound could be described, the one beside the stab wound to the bone, could be described as superficial. I did not see it described anywhere as superficial in any of the medical records. It is not used in that context. It is only used in the neck that the wound was superficial to the strap muscles, okay? Now, as right now, looking at that wound, telling you what her wounds were and describing her wounds, that 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch wound beside the stab wound on her arm that went all the way to the bone, that particular wound is the only wound that could be classified as superficial in the sense that it was not deep. The muscle in her neck.
Oh, so there are two meanings for the word.
Yes, I just said that.
So okay.
I've never disputed that there's two words.
Well, now we first got into this conversation about the word superficial. You said they never used that word superficial on the stand at all, and I've got you recorded saying that.
No, I did not say on the stand.
You want?
Go back and listen, Brian. I never once said that.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay. Well, it's not my intention. In her medical records. Well, Danelle, on my end, the only thing I can tell you is that I absolutely do not think this is a game. I wish that you weren't the person that I'm bickering with, because you suffer no matter who did this. You suffer.
Leave me alone, Brian. You don't have to dig at me. You don't have to purposely call me out. You're choosing to do that. Those are your choices. You're making the choice to call me out. You're making the choice to argue with me. You're making it your life goal.
No, it's not.
This case apart.
See, See how you
because it
say,
gets tiring.
you know, I actually have a wife and 2 kids and lots of appointments. It's not my life's goal, but it's something that I'm passionate about.
Use your passion to do it in another fashion,
Okay.
but don't attack me and what I'm doing, because life.
Well, I'm not attacking you if I'm just responding to you, and I'm not going to be rude about it if I do.
That's not it at all. You went and called the Innocent Project in an attempt to get me in trouble.
Isn't that funny though? Because I made myself look like an asshole. I give you guys.
I don't think it's funny at all, because
Well, it should be for you guys because I made myself look stupid doing that. I made myself look.
But it's very disrespectful for you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When I have never done anything to call you out. I've never done anything to try to jeopardize what your goals are. If your goals are to keep Darlie in prison, then my God, go for it. I'm not disputing that you can have a difference of opinions, because you can have any opinion you like. And I'm going to be respectful enough to allow you guys to have those opinions. But the problem presents itself when you come onto my page or my videos and you say things that are either inaccurate or rude, or you call me a liar, or you say I could be guilty by party of the law of parties. All of those things are very disrespectful and very
no, I've made it clear to people that I don't think you're purposely misinforming, but I did say that if someone was purposely lying for Darlie, then they would be guilty.
Well, you should go back and read that conversation, because you definitely said you would be guilty.
You would be. You would be if I said I don't. I said I don't think you. I said I don't think. I said I don't think. I said I don't think that you're intentionally lying. I don't think you're a liar, because if you were intentionally lying, you would be. But I don't think that you're lying.
If I was trying to cover up a crime, but this has been processed. This has been convicted. I cannot be found guilty by party of the law of the parties at this point in the crime.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, I agree with you. You're right. You're right. You're right.
I'm not trying to bamboozle anybody. I am only stating facts, and I have receipts for what I'm saying.
Right. There's some things that you won't touch on that have to do with the case.
Such as?
Well, I asked you in a message privately about that, and you didn't want to talk about it. But we're talking. Okay, no, listen. We'll talk. What I'm talking about is the way a person was affected as a child, and how that could lead into some kind of psychosis later. You didn't want to.
Here's what I'll say about that. I will address it with you right now. I have no knowledge of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never asked Darlie about that. I've never asked my mother about that. I've never asked anybody involved about that. It's not my business. It's not my place, and I don't want to know.
Right.
I don't know what was done. Therefore, I can't say what it was, or how it was done, or if it happened, or if it didn't happen.
Right.
That's not my story to tell, and that is not related to this case.
That's a great answer. But it would be related to the case if that was something that was true. Because a lot of times when there's abuse as a child or psychological, it carries on to behavior in the future that can be.
And what do those people do? When they have abuse as a child, then what do they do, Brian? They abuse their children. And do you know that there was never any signs of abuse in Devin and Damon?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The medical examiner said they were well cared for.
Yeah, absolutely. They sure were. I agree. I don't get it. I don't get why. That's the thing with motive in the United States, is you don't have to have one. I don't get it.
But there is always one. There is always a motive.
Almost, yeah.
Whether you have to prove it or not is irrelevant.
What do you think the motive would be for an unknown intruder to come into that house and do that? Would be?
It was one of two things. It was either they were going to burglarize the house, break in and steal shit, and saw Darlie on the couch, or it was an intentional attack on Darlie. They wanted to rape Darlie. And the more that I look at the case, and the more that things line up, I do definitely lean towards this was somebody that wanted to attack Darlie. Darlie, that wanted to rape Darlie. Darren's car wasn't there. Darlie had been sleeping downstairs by herself for a couple days, off and on. There was a lot of things that would support somebody wanting to rape her.
Right.
She dressed in a fashion that brought attention to herself.
Oh, she's
she was
adorable.
beautiful. She wore makeup.
You guys'
very
whole family.
attractive.
You
and
guys,
not just pretty. She was sexually attractive.
Sure she was.
To 90% of men.
And she was very...
It definitely leads me to believe that this very well could be an attempted rape.
What do you think about the partial rape exam that they did perform there at Baylor?
Well, they should have sent her to Parkland for a full rape exam, or they should have called for one of Parkland's same nurses to come and do a full rape exam. And here's why. Those rape exams include fingernail clippings. They comb your pubic hair. They check your whole body, and they document every single little tiny deficit in your skin. That was never done.
And you saw
if that had been done, they would have documented the bruises all over her breast. They would have seen the bruising on her arms. They would have collected pubic hair. They would have collected everything. And whether or not he actually penetrated her, or whether or not he truly intended to rape her.
Okay.
Her panties are missing. Her panties were never found.
Okay. Yeah, they can say. Yeah, I mean, I understand that you say her panties, but we don't. And honest to God, I'm not trying to be shitty. We don't have any proof she had any on when she went down there. She had all she says she does, but she had on a long Victoria's night, a secret nightgown on. She didn't really have any reason to wear any. But what I'm saying,
See, there's always an excuse. You guys always tend to make up an excuse to nullify.
You could honestly say that her panties are missing. But we could. Well, what color were they?
Conversation that they had in front of the paramedics.
What color were they?
I believe it was a white pair of thongs.
That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? We don't know that they're missing. And they also said that she was in shock on the way to the hospital when they had that conversation with the paramedics.
Well,
the paramedics did a
conversation too, because again, if you look at her medical records and you look at all of those vital signs compared to what they're testifying to, it doesn't match up, Brian.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
Was she in hypovolemic shock?
No.
She very well could have been. Absolutely very well could have been.
But they did
you know how I know that,
they did a field shock test on her.
5 liters of blood. Not 5 liters. She lost 5 points of blood, which would have been about 2.5 liters. Is a lot.
How much did they give her? How much blood did they give her at the hospital?
She didn't need any blood because luckily she had a bulkier amount. She was at 14 3 months prior. When she left that hospital, well, I don't know what she was when they left that hospital. The last lab draw that they documented showed that she had lost 2 additional points of blood.
That's good.
Which would have been 5 points total.
It's good that
if you are not symptomatic, they will not transfuse you. And at 9, she was not symptomatic.
Now, as far as the partial, they did the partial rape test. They took lab.
They did not do a partial rape test. Let's clarify this. They did a speculum exam, and they took some swabs to check for STDs.
Right. They called it a partial. Okay, I'll give them that. They called it that. But what they requested is after the lab results came back, if it was positive, then to let them know. If it was positive, they probably would have took her to Parkland to go further. I'm assuming it was.
They would not have taken her to Parkland. That's not how it works. They would have collected more evidence if there was something positive, but you can't collect any additional evidence if there's no semen. And there was no. I would assume now. You know how it is when you assume shit. I don't know if they sent that to be visualized for sperm.
Yep.
I know that they were ruling out any kind of STDs, and they would have treated her for any kind of sexually transmitted diseases.
I don't know if they were listing a couple different chlamydia, herpes. They were talking about the herpes. I don't know if they were ruling it out, but she did state.
Yes, that's what they were looking for. When they submit those swabs, they have to say exactly what they want to be tested for.
Okay.
And typically in a hospital setting, you're not testing a swab for semen. Okay. So I don't know that was included in their exam.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I have not seen that anywhere in any of it.
Oh, yeah.
what the doctor did say was that there was no evidence of trauma in her vagina, meaning there was no tears,
Right.
there was no obvious
Just,
bleeding.
just a white discharge, which is probably normal, actually.
Yes, very normal.
Uh,
And to be 100% honest, she's had 3 babies. So you're not probably going to have
Right.
any significant trauma unless it is a very violent, brutal rape. And I don't think that the intruder had the opportunity to get to that point. I think that he was interrupted, and I think that shit hit the fan, and he had to leave and jump ship, and here we are.
Okay.
And I genuinely think that his intention and his expectation was that he killed Darlie when he left that house, because it took a lot of force to cut her neck and to stab her to the bone. And most people that get stabbed through the neck, it's not something you expect people to live through.
Mm-hmm.
The intention is to kill that person, right? When you cut somebody's neck, you intend to kill them.
Usually, yeah, that would be that'd probably be the goal. Then, and what we look at in criminal profiling is that usually when it's a sexual assault and there's children involved, that the criminal will generally use them as a pawn to get the woman to submit. Darlie doesn't say that this person ever said a word to her, never gave her a command or anything.
She has no recollection of that attack. The only thing she can truly remember is that somebody was leaving the living room area.
All right.
That's her memory. Now we know, and our brains want to piece things together, and we know logically she had a fight with this person based on what we see, based on what we know. We know that she had an attack and that there was a struggle, and we know that based on what we saw at the crime scene. The table was shifted and knocked over. She had injuries that were consistent with defense wounds. There was a lot of things.
Have you seen?
Bruises,
have you ever seen
scratches?
Have you ever seen the defense wounds on Travis Alexander's hands?
I don't know who Travis Alexander is.
Alexander is Jodi Arias' victim. I don't know if you know.
Oh, okay.
Go look at the defense wounds on his hand, and he was stabbed several times, and he tried. But I mean, if you look at what Darlie's got, what the difference, you know,
I understand that they are not the same as Travis Alexander's. I completely understand that. I don't think that eliminates it from being a defensive wound.
No,
just because
it wouldn't eliminate it. No.
Enough for it to not be that severe and decapitate her fingers or deglove her skin off her fingers.
Right.
Just because it didn't get to that point does not mean that it's not a defense.
Right.
It just means it was not as severe as Travis Alexander.
Right.
But
And
a
lot of criminals who use knives to kill will get cuts on their hands as well. And some people feel like the screen could have caused that on Darlie if she,
What?
The screen, taking the screen, ripping the screen could have done that.
So now she cut the screen with her hand?
No, she cut it and pulled it apart to a T.
But only one hand.
Both hands.
She didn't have cuts on her other hand.
One hand could get cut and not the other.
Okay, so here we are again, where you guys are trying to make these ridiculous, exaggerated, not logical explanations.
It's not logical. It's not logical. It's not logical to you that somebody can rip a screen and get it.
Why are we making excuses for things that fit the description of what they are?
Well,
we're making things into something that they're not. That is a classic defense wound.
Okay.
On her forearm, her right forearm, classic defense wound.
Could be. I would agree. From putting your arm
then
up.
Why are we trying to explain everything else as not a defense wound?
Well,
and if you agree those are classic defense wounds, then how do you feel about that?
I agree that you said they could be. What I'm saying is, like, if somebody's trying to jet off a knife wound that's coming at their face, it seems to me like it would hit the back of their forearm and not the front of it. It seems like it. Hmm?
The back of her forearm, that's kind of where it hit. If her arm is up, it hit her right in that part of the arm that would be up.
Well, what I mean is the back part of your hand, where your hand is open, the wound is on her, like near her wrist, the top of her wrist.
Okay, let's use medical terms. Anatomically speaking, it is on the posterior side of her right forearm. When you look at a medical body, like a drawing, when your thumbs are out away from your midline, the front of your body is anterior.
Anterior.
The back of your body is your posterior.
Okay.
Right? Your palms would be facing forward. Your thumbs would be facing outward. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yep.
So her injury is on the posterior part, and it is actually more medial to her midline.
Yeah.
It is on the outside edge of her posterior right forearm.
Right. It seems like her wounds were slices, and it seems like
that is not true. They're documented as stab wounds to her left shoulder and to her right forearm.
Okay.
It is documented.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay, I'll give you that. The one on her shoulder isn't very deep.
Doesn't matter. She fought back.
But she, in the 911 call, she changed the word from fighting to frightening because the Alan Brantley,
she was 26 years old. She had just experienced the most traumatic thing possible ever in a million years, unimaginable. How it doesn't matter. Those words, like you don't even remember what happens in those events.
Well, like I said, she said she. No, I'm not taking it apart. I'm going on what she said, Danelle. You said her memory was horrible and all that through that night, but she remembered specifically enough to make the statement that I did not say I was fighting. I said I was frightening. That's what she said.
Okay.
Because it didn't look.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying that it doesn't matter what she said. It really doesn't matter because her in that moment, whatever she said is what she said.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, what she remembers is what she remembers.
Right.
Is it going to always line up? No. Same with Waddell. Why does Waddell's story change?
Yep.
Why does Cron's story change? Why does Officer Main's story? All of them have a difference from their original statements to their testimony.
In the first statement,
in the first
statements that Darlie and Darren wrote out for the police, that
oh my goodness,
they state their statement is different. Their statement is different because they didn't talk about a separation in that report. They didn't talk about.
It wasn't important. It wasn't that dramatic. It was not a factor.
But when the right.
When they told her to write a statement, she's writing details that would be important to help find the killer.
Right.
Not about her marriage and what they talked about.
Right, because if they would have wrote in their statements that we were talking about a divorce, and an hour later the two
You're not talking about
a separation.
You need to get this car fixed. If you can't get your stuff lined up,
So they were arguing.
then maybe I'll separate from you. It was not that serious. It was a casual conversation between a husband and a wife
Right.
that loved each other. Darren said he told her he loved her.
Right.
They kissed goodnight. He went to bed.
I'm
It's
not
clear
kissing.
that they were
I
not
wouldn't kiss my
deciding-
wife goodnight if she just asked me for a separation. The bottom line is,
She did not ask him for a separation. It was a discussion. It was part of a whole conversation.
oh well, Darren's affidavit says she asked him for a separation.
I do not believe that was as heavy as it is implied, and you're taking things out of the whole picture to try
Danelle,
to make
my thought is that when the police ask you to go through the events of that night, anything you can remember, if you omit that you asked for a separation, that makes you look guilty.
It wasn't part of what happened. She didn't think Darren did that.
Well, they wanted to know what was going on in the house. They wanted to know what was going on in the house so they could exclude.
About the crime.
They wanted
I'm going
to
to tell you about what happened, what I remember, what I saw.
Right. They.
I'm not about the conversation I had 3 hours.
Okay, I'll give you. Well, but they did talk. They did talk about eating popcorn and making chicken noodle soup. That has no relevance in catching an intruder. It doesn't.
They asked her for details.
They.
Of what they did.
Yeah, they asked her for details. So she gave details. She gave details about what they ate, what they were wearing, what they were watching on TV, but no details about an argument that happened in the house.
It wasn't relevant, Brian. It wasn't relevant. And I still do not think that it was a true, if you don't do this, we're getting separated. I think it was in casual conversation, discussing, I need you to get your life together, Darren, because I need my car back. I want to take the boys to go and do things. I want to have fun with them
Right.
in the summer.
Right.
That was what she was upset about,
Right.
because she was not able to take the boys places during the day.
We know. Yep.
He was going to kill them because she couldn't take them places?
No.
No, that was the exact opposite.
No. But just the fact that she omitted that. So if Darren said that she
But
asked for,
here's the thing. You can't keep harping on these bullshit things.
It's not bullshit.
It's not relevant. It's
what
semantics.
what if me and my wife got in a huge fight, and then later on an intruder came in and killed our kids? They're going to think that we did it because we were fighting.
I can't say what is going to happen in your life or what you're fighting.
Anybody. We don't fight.
Not fighting in the sense that they were, knocked down, drag out, and let's get the divorce papers out and sign them.
How many times did Darlie send divorce papers from prison to Darren before he actually signed them?
Again, Brian, I'm not going to speak on anything that's happened after the trial. I don't know how many times.
Three times. We got that from his mother. 3 different times.
Okay. Yeah, Darren supported Darlie even to this day. He still supports Darlie's innocence. What is your point?
What's he supposed to do? Be the only one to say I know something?
If he thought for 1 second that she was responsible, he would duck out and never talk to us again. There was no reason for him to continue to support her if he thought she was responsible. If he was responsible, I also think he would definitely say, yes, she did it.
You notice how after the last defense, when Darlie stated that she found out about things that she didn't know about back then. Before, when we were running the supporter groups, it was taboo. We never would accuse Darren of anything. If somebody accused Darren, we'd kick him out.
Brian,
but look,
I don't really care about what has happened after the trial. I don't want to pick apart everybody's decisions or everybody's actions or what they said or what they didn't say or how they handled.
Right. Well, now Free Darlie's dedicated to making Darren look like.
And I can't speak for them, and I don't know what they were doing or thinking, or I can't.
Okay.
I'm not responsible for that.
Right.
That's not my business, first of all, and it's none of your goddamn business either how many times she requested a divorce. It is completely irrelevant.
Well, when Cirilla just told me that.
Random things.
Cirilla told me
What?
that. Cirilla wanted to do an interview with me. So it
I
was
don't-
my
I don't
business.
care, though.
If she
How is that
agreed,
important to me?
if she
How is that
agreed,
important to this case?
yeah.
It's not. It's just something for you to pull out and try to argue over. And I don't have the time. I am seriously at a point in my life where I get about an hour of free time a day, if that. And now I have just wasted all this time for you to ask me how many times Darlie.
I didn't ask
sent
you that.
divorce papers.
We're
You
talking.
said you just said how many times did you send it? I didn't bring that up.
We brought up the whole thing of separation. We were talking about the whole thing of separation. So I didn't just pick it out of the air. We were just having a discussion.
Let's talk about the case. Let's talk about the case.
Okay.
Let's be respectful about it. We can agree to disagree. I'm not going to defend anybody. I can't tell you what Sorelda said or didn't said, and I can't even prove that was said because Sorelda's dead now. It
Well,
is irrelevant.
it was said because it was on a live. She did a 2-hour interview with me.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It is completely irrelevant to Darlie's guilt or innocence.
Mm-hmm.
It neither proves nor disproves anything about this case.
One thing that
proves that Darren continues to support her and did not want a divorce.
he didn't.
Continued to support her.
No, he didn't want a divorce. He sure didn't.
Don't you think that's odd that somebody would continue to support their wife if there was any chance they were guilty?
Well, like I said,
Do you think that proves her innocence or leans towards her innocence?
no, because Darren is a person that sets up insurance jobs and does cocaine. So why would we believe anything he says?
And you've never done a drug in your life, is that right?
I smoke pot, but I'm not out
And
here.
you've never done anything else, huh?
Yeah, I've done all that stuff, but I'm not out here trying to say.
Okay, so now can I trust you since you've done those things?
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, so
Don't trust anybody.
you can't have it one way and not the other.
Why not?
It goes both ways.
I'm not trying to tell people that my son is innocent when I know he's guilty, though.
You cannot bring your son into this because that is not related to this, and I'm not going to judge you for that or have a comment on that.
Well,
I'm sorry that
he
happened to you.
he did what he did. Oh, they're throwing that back up in my face now because I'm talking to you. Some of one of the supporter groups are throwing it up in my face about my son, which is fine with me because I don't understand. I don't understand it how you understand it because you're fighting for innocence, and I'm not having to fight for my son. I'm having to fight people off about what my son did, and they try to put that on me. I've got that kind of hate. Well, your son did this. I've got that kind of hate, and I know you probably know what that feels like too. But I'm not trying to feel.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful that anybody would even say that.
You're not responsible for anything anybody did except for what Danelle does. That's what.
Exactly.
Right. Well, this wasn't a wasted conversation. If you want me to, I'll take that video down. But I can only tell you that you're going to be pissed at me. You're going to be pissed.
It doesn't matter if you take it down. You can leave it up because it truly does make you guys look.
Okay. Good. We gave that to you then.
It is unfortunate that you felt like that was the only course of action you had. And I hate that you felt like I was ignoring you because I'm genuinely not ignoring you.
I didn't feel like you were ignoring me. I felt like you're just not.
And I think that's why you did.
No, you're just not answering me. You're just not answering me. You're busy. You've explained it to me that you're busy. So if you don't answer me right away, one, you either don't want to answer it, and I'm not going to keep at you about it, or two, you're just busy. I figure that when you want to talk to me, I've left this open for you. You can call me. You can talk to me anytime you want. I'm not going to ever be rude to you.
Here's the thing with communicating with you on all of your pages, it opens me up to be attacked by people that don't know me, and it is easy to say ugly things through a screen.
Yes.
There's these keyboard warriors.
I agree.
They can say whatever they want without any repercussions, and
Yep.
they would not say a fucking word to my face.
That's right.
But it's okay to say
That's
whatever
right.
you want. And
That's
I'm not
what
down for that.
I'm not doing that to you, Danelle. I'm not going to do that to you or your family. I'm not
Know
going
that
to.
your people are, the people that you associate with are very mean and hateful people. And
Right.
they do whatever they can to inflict pain on me and my family because they think that I'm supporting a baby killer.
So are you?
And I'm not supporting a baby
I
killer.
get in trouble
I'm
if I
supporting
send my
sister.
kid money, But do you feel like that you are in favor with all the people that support Darlie? Are you in line with all of them? Because like I said, those people have done things to me. Not you, not your mother. Your mother called the cops on me once, but that's it. But you
cross every line, and I understand why she did what she did. You definitely were at a place back then that was alarming and scary. You took everything 10 times too far, and it was overwhelmingly alarming and concerning. And when we get in a position where we feel like we could be unsafe, what are we supposed to do?
Well, I never. Right, I never made any threats to you. I mean, when they called me, I put up a video.
You don't have to
Right.
necessarily say I'm going to come kill you
No,
to scare somebody.
no, but when I showed them that she accused me of the crime, they could see why I was so pissed off. I mean, honestly, I said this is what pissed me off.
Again, I'm not going to defend what my mother has done or
I don't
not
blame
done. I'm
her.
not even going to
Danelle,
defend what you
if
have done
I
or not.
thought that my son was innocent, right, I wouldn't give a damn what nobody else thought. I know what you.
Okay.
I know where you're at.
Yes,
If
but
I
here's
thought
what
he-
I want you to understand.
Right.
I genuinely, 100% with every fiber in my being, believe that my sister is innocent and will be eventually coming home.
And I'm gonna tell you what. When
Arguing and disputing and trying to entice me into these conflicts, it's very harmful and it is very disrespectful. If there's a question or if there's something that I have misquoted, I appreciate the feedback.
Okay. All right.
Having a difference of opinion.
All right. Good.
I do not want
Good.
for somebody to purposely try to elicit an angry response from me. And I also don't want to be attacked when you're only pulling bits and pieces of what I'm saying.
I really didn't think that I did.
Everything that I have posted, everything that I have said in regards to her medical care, I have always said medical records. Medical records, medical records, medical records. I'm not quoting from the testimony. I'm showing the difference between the two. And you seem to think that you can pull from the testimony and try to catch me in a lie when I'm actually pointing out the difference between the testimony and the medical records. That's where I feel attacked, and that's where I had to step back. And I had to separate myself because you weren't understanding what I was saying.
Okay, Danelle, please don't take it as a personal attack. It could be an attack on what you're saying. But personally, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to. I mean, I can't guarantee you that.
But you did, Bryan. You did. You called the Innocent Project with the intentions of trying to get me in trouble.
No, because you said that they were asking you to call. What
But
I wanted.
You didn't know You didn't know that. You did not know that.
Well,
you called them with the intention of being malicious.
I just honestly don't believe that. I mean, I don't believe they asked.
Again, there you are calling me a liar.
I'm not calling you a liar. There's a difference. No. Okay, what if I said, show me where they asked you?
Well, I can't show you
Right.
It is what it is. But you can absolutely ask them again. Call them every single day, Bryan. I want you to call them every single day until they call you back, okay?
I'm not going to call them again. I'm not going to call them again. I'm just, I had no reason to.
You have no reason to call them to begin with.
Well, you did.
Your attempt at attacking my family again.
That's not an attack on your family. You're maximizing. You're maximizing. I didn't say anything about your family.
You absolutely called me out and said that I was making Darlie look guilty and that I was funneling people to call the Innocent Project with any kind of...
You were.
That's exactly what they need to do. If there is anything... Do you know that I had a tip sent to me? I've known this person for 15 years. I had no idea that we had a mutual friend that knew something about the case. 15 years I've known her. The only reason she gave me that tip and told me what she knew was because of my TikToks.
Good. And I hope you get what you want. I really do. But there's
we may never know, and that's the hardest part.
I hope that
my goal is to show the world that this is not shut and dry.
If you guys get her out of there, I'm not going to be like, oh man, that's bullshit. No, I wouldn't. Especially because you're not going to get her out of there unless you prove she didn't do it, right? So
exactly.
So if you get her out of there, am I going to feel stupid? Well, I'll feel bad. But then why
continue to perpetuate those behaviors?
What behavior?
If she's in jail and she is in prison and she is where you want her to be, stop focusing your energy on this hate. If I'm just blowing smoke up people's ass, like you say,
it's not hate.
It's not going to do anything.
No, you're not. You don't always do that. It's just like, she's in this cage, and you think that I want her to be there. If she did the crime, I want her to be there. If she didn't,
how do you feel about that?
If she didn't, then the state of Texas and some people need to fucking answer for it. That's what I think. And I think
I'm doing.
I think I would be dedicated to that. I think I would want to meet Darlie. If you were, she knows exactly who I am. She probably hates my guts. But I would want to. Well, she doesn't say anything bad about me. I know that. But
no, she doesn't hate anybody.
I would. The only person, in my opinion, that I would want to physically go and see to apologize to would be Darlie. If you got.
She would accept that apology and tell you, don't worry about it.
Because you also have.
What my point of asking that was, what you're doing is not productive. You're not helping either way. It's very time consuming to try to dispute everything y'all say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very disheartening to have a whole crew of people that think you're a bad person. I have never made an enemy in my life.
I don't think people think you're a bad person.
I don't like for people I don't tell lies. I support people. I'm a nice person. And these people that don't know me can say whatever the hell they want about me.
Right.
And that definitely puts a tarnish on your reputation.
I'm telling you,
in the public.
You don't know how bad I felt when I got into it with you, because when they first diagnosed Drake, and I got to know you because you stepped in to take care of him, and that shows me a lot right there. And I spoke highly of you then, but you weren't speaking out about the case too much then. But you were
busy raising babies.
Right. You were focused on taking care. And we all just loved Drake. It was so sad when he came on that show, and we were all watching, and he's just like, I love my mom. I love my mom.
He loves his mom.
He said, all I know is
that is so heartbreaking.
Yep.
To have these people, this whole group of people that dedicate so much time and energy to hate somebody that the only thing they know about them is from what Greg Davis fed them.
Yeah. Drake had a MySpace. Drake had a MySpace when I was a supporter, and he would chat every now and then on there. And I feel awful for you people. I wish this never happened. I just wish
y'all could understand who Darlie really was, because if I could even get you to understand even a little bit of who she was,
right.
Every single one of you would support her 100%.
Well, I know
People that did not support her and that spoke poorly of her was some crazy ass lady from down the street that used to be a prostitute and got mad at Darlie because Darlie picked up their pictures from their girls' night out.
Who are you talking about?
And some random ass pawn shop person that didn't even describe Darlie correctly in her original statement.
Yeah, I don't know. The pawn shop. Look, if the kids are acting up in the pawn shop, honestly, for me. If the kids are acting up and she said a swear,
Darlie would not have ever cussed at her children.
But if
never. She doesn't even cuss to me, and I'm an adult.
If
now.
she did, if she said, "Get your asses over here," or if she put cake in Devin's face, even we heard.
Yes, she did.
Right, but that
was something we did all the time. Every single
right.
family gathering, we end up in some kind of food fight.
Yeah.
Simply Fondue, we got chocolate all over the whole.
Right, and see, those are some of the things that I just like. Nah, that means nothing. That's normal. That's normal, right? Even if she got mad, I got teenagers. You think I haven't sweared at them? I had the one to come home late from school today, right? So you can swear at them. That doesn't mean you're abusive, So none of that stuff.
I was raised by a truck driver. I think cussing is like glitter for words.
Yeah,
I'm not against cussing. Darlie is not.
Okay, so what I'll do, Danelle, since you gave me an hour and 15 minutes of your time, what I'll do is realize that I pissed you off by doing that. The video's already up, the call's already made. What I could do is, when I'm reacting to what you're saying, is I'm gonna try not to be snarky and not to be rude. You put one thing, I put my perspective. I think everybody has the right to decide for themselves. And if you catch me making something up, if you think that I'm just, then we got messages.
But I'm not trying to pick apart what you're saying, because I feel like you can have that opinion.
It has to be. Well, I want desperately for you guys to show me, put something up. Yeah, because everything that you've been able to put up is disputable. It is. I understand what you're saying. I follow you.
And so what you're disputing is my opinion on the interpretation of the knowledge that I have or the testimony that I read. It's okay for you to have a difference of opinions, but I'm not stating my opinion as fact.
Okay.
An opinion, it's just an opinion.
Okay, you stand on what Darlie's saying, and what you have is thousands of people that stand on what the state of Texas said, and.
People that don't support Darlie, the ones that very superficially join y'all's groups, don't investigate the case and only believe the media given them.
There are a lot of people that come to the groups they'll say, well, I'm kind of on the fence. And some people listen to us, and some people go to where what they believe. and they have
Yes.
they have a right to what they believe, and that
It's
does.
just sad that they get bullied when they
Well,
disagree.
I'm not good. I'm not. Look, I ran my groups. They liked it when I was coming at you guys. I made funny, messed up videos, and I did shit that was
It's disgusting.
is
It
ridiculous. It is, yeah. And
Yeah.
I've apologized for that 100 million
Yeah.
times, but
But
they
it still continues in the other people there. That's why I cannot invest my time and energy into any of that. And it's not healthy.
I don't need to know what those people think of me. I don't need to know how you view my opinions. It is irrelevant. It is a mute point because my opinions are my opinions. I can do and say what I want, and I'm allowing you guys to do and say what y'all want.
I'll try.
I joined that group because I thought it was a supporter group, and boy was I wrong.
I'm telling you, Danelle, when I first started that, we had all the supporters in there, and I really was. I was telling Christine Rose, all of them.
How many are there now?
Well, I was telling them, we can't delete every comment. We can't boot them every time we get pissed off. We can't snap at them if they have a question.
Well, you can do whatever you want.
Well,
And there's no rules saying you can't.
you're
but
right.
it is a
You're right.
hate group.
But check this out. I got them to stop doing that, and they
I
stopped.
disagree.
Well,
No, you didn't.
I got no. This is years ago. Look, I got them to stop doing. We had Stephanie Hopkins and Danny Owen and Dave Moff and Patrick King. They were all in there, and I was holding it down. But after they saw that I was just going to let them have free reign of it, and do what they want as long as they weren't being rude, and nobody was fighting with them. They just
Conversation.
when we started having intelligent conversation back and forth without insult, they would just, I'm done with you. Never mind. I'm not coming back to this group. And they all eventually left on their own. That's
Not at all.
that's a fact. That is,
We're
is
gonna have to agree to disagree.
all right. See, but are you calling me a liar?
I'm disagreeing with your perspective on why people left that group.
They left because they didn't want to hear it.
It has been a consistent trend that they feel bullied or attacked if they have a difference of opinions because
Oh,
nothing can ever
we-
be left alone.
But I tell you,
Personal.
we get that too. Let me slide into Free Darlie, and with my opinion, see what happens.
I don't know anything about who that is. I don't know who runs that.
Uh-huh.
It has nothing to do with our family.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah, it used to because your mom used to be a group member. And
Just because she's a group member doesn't
she's not anymore. She's not anymore because they don't do anything but blame Darren, and I think it's bullshit. I really do.
It's another disgusting.
Absolutely useless page where people want to gang up and be hateful.
That
and-
Free Darlie group, there was a rule you could not say Darlie was guilty in there, and I enforced it. And I dared Pamela Lakes Collins to say it to me one time, and she did it again in that group, and I booted her ass because that's how staunch I was that she was innocent. You were not allowed to say that word at all. And my reasoning for it is behind the scenes shit. When I
So
honestly,
you're basing
Your opinion on her guilt.
no. I'm gonna tell. Let me tell you how it started. It started from behind the scenes because I was able to speak to your mom and we talked and we were on the same page. But I swear to God, as my witness, she would say one thing in private messages and deny it in public, and that's what got my brain. I was like, why would she do that? I didn't call her out on it. I was like, but why is she obviously doing this? And after I saw it a couple different times and we had a big blowout because your mom swore she didn't say something, and I said, well, yes, you did, and then I put it in the chat. So I caught her. No.
Your opinion on Darlie's guilt.
No, Danelle, listen to me. What I was going to do, I was like, you know what? I just can't support this anymore. I'm not sure, blah, 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 because your mom was acting differently. And I'm sorry. That's just for me. She was just one way in private and another way in public. And so I was just going to back away from the whole thing. I said, I can't do this anymore. I said, Dave, Moff, you can have this group. I didn't say anything rude about Darlie. And my intention was to just leave that alone. It was getting too personal, right? So I would be in my other Facebook groups with the Missy Bavers case and so about Hannah Overton. And Darlie supporters were mad that I left, and they really did start on me, right? And I'm like, leave me. And it wasn't your family. Your mom did say something rude, but they just wouldn't let me walk away from it. And I had no intention of it. So then I started really looking at the case. I'm like, why are these people acting like this? And then when I started looking at the case more, I came to the conclusion that she was guilty, right? But I just looked at the testimony and I just felt like that the courts weren't lying. And that's the best way to put it.
Nothing changed in that testimony from you originally supporting her.
That's right. And when I supported Darlie, I didn't argue with non-supporters. I didn't argue the case. I wouldn't go where they were at. They knew not to come into our groups, and I never would have to argue it. I never had to argue it. And as a non-supporter, I was in positions where people were having me to argue it with them, and I'm not making stuff up. I'm just not. I'm not doing it to be shitty. And then I backed away from it for 5 or 6 years, right? And then I seen you come out, and I'm like, okay, this is not correct, And so I'm just back in it. But I don't know what it was. I just don't know. I don't know what it is that you had said specifically. But anyways, I felt like if you were out speaking, then I'd get out speaking. They see me make a couple Darlie videos. The groups asked me to come back. That's when I was going to try and get you in the groups and hope that it worked out. But they're going to be shitty to you. There's nothing I can do about that. They were mad at me. I was trying to do it the right way, and they got mad at me, and I almost lost my groups that I had for years.
It's not healthy. That environment, even for you, it's not healthy for your mental health to be constantly battling between keeping all these people happy that don't pay your bills.
It is. It can be frustrating because this isn't the only case. I'm very interested in true crime, and I have spoke up for the innocent. There's a lot of it. And if you get if you
what made you flip? Like, other than you were just mad because Grandma Darlie was not being consistent in her work.
okay, like
Darlie guilty.
I said, when I was a supporter, I wasn't well versed in the case. I wasn't well versed in the evidence. I had this gut feeling. I wasn't, not really. I knew, but I didn't have to dig into it too much because I supported her innocence. I just felt like, through hearing about the insurance scams and stuff like that Darren was into some shit he shouldn't have been into. And if it wasn't him, it was somebody around that insurance scam type of thing. And I really did believe that for a while, but I didn't dive deep into it. I didn't put all my efforts into finding every little thing I could about this case out until your mother accused me of it. And all I did was leave support. And I get this nasty thing that your mom writes out, 85J, I want to compare it to him. She was mad because I left support. I didn't do nothing. I walked away. That's the honest to God, That's the honest to God truth. That's the truth.
Yeah. I'm not disputing anything that she did or said. I believe that she said whatever you're saying she said. I know who she is.
Yes.
I know how she can act. And when she is hurt, she goes, straight for whatever weakness you have.
She sure did. Your mom has called me a fat, greasy, uneducated, blah, blah, blah. So then I'd throw up a shitty video about her, right? And then she would always get word to me. And then she would always find a way to get word to me that she said this or that. So she did put up a thing saying, I wish this fight between the non-supporters and the supporters would just stop. It's too much. And that's the day I called her, Danelle, and you picked up the phone. You didn't know I was good. You didn't know my intention was to be like, look, I'm sorry. I don't want to fight with you. I just want to be away from it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And then you intercepted the call. You probably thought I was calling a harasser. You didn't know I had been calling.
I did.
Right, and I don't get you. Right, you did. You probably didn't know that I had been. How'd I have her number? She gave it to me as a supporter. I would call her. We would talk, not too much. But when you snatch that phone and you're like, you're mentally ill, you don't know anything about this case, blah, blah. And I said, well, I called to talk to Darlie Key. And you're like, well, Darlie Key doesn't want to talk to you. But she did put a post up. And that was at the time, on non-support, I was admin in all of those. And I really wanted to get it to stop. Family-wise, we can have our opinion. And you're not going to like our opinion. But, they had me, I made some shitty videos of your mom and shitty videos about Darlie, and it was funny. But I might not have went that raw if she wouldn't have accused me of, all right, maybe I do know what Darlie feels like, because I know what it's like to be accused of killing 2 kids that I didn't kill. That's where I'm at. Your mother did that to me publicly.
Very superficial, though. That was very much just to insult you. That was not a genuine.
Oh, I know. But, well, she said, well, because they know I have Texas roots. They know I've been in the area. They know. And they're like, I wonder why criminals always go back to the scene. No, we were, as a supporter, the house was up for sale. And we just happened to be over in the Dallas area. I got family up there. So I got a chance to walk through the house. And I took it as a supporter. I was a supporter. I wanted to know what it felt like to stand, right? Huh?
I genuinely do not believe that and I can't speak for her, but I do not think that she genuinely thought.
I know she didn't. I know now, but damn. I'm like, all I did was just walk away from something that wasn't cool to me no more. And I had no intention of getting in any non-support group, none. Until I keep getting these shitty messages from supporters. And look, Darlie Key said this.
I remember it differently. I remember it very differently. I remember you posting things and making comments in the hate groups before you and I had that whole discussion.
Oh, yeah. By the time you and I had spoke and got into that argument, I was leading all of the non-support groups. But that was, yeah, I was. But I still try to run it on a decent thing. But your mom would say stuff to lots of us. And she doesn't do that anymore. But there'd be a lot of times she used to. And, if you do that, if you go into a group, if you're a cat and you walk into a group of dogs, you're going to get bit. I mean, that's what happened. And, like I said,
if your baby middle of that dog, you're gonna put mama cat on top of those baby kittens, and that's exactly what she was trying to do.
Right.
She's trying to save her baby, and she's trying to defend the honor of her.
That's right. I see it, and there was one show where they were going to ask her if they were going to execute Darlie, would she go see it, and what her answer, she couldn't do it. Yeah, and she was about to break down. So I do have empathy, but if somebody's going to say something rude to me and be shitty with me, I can do that too. And there was just a whole lot of that. But like I said, and here I've been advocating for children that were hurt in crimes or killed in crimes. And then my son goes and does this, and it's national news. So everybody that I've been advocating for years, he just took that away from me. And I was getting attacked by supporters, attacked by people in the area's case, attacked left and right by everybody. And I go to check my text like the day after, and there's a text from your mom. She said, I'm not going to judge. She said, I just want you to know that we're here for you, and we're sorry for your family. And if you need any advice, I'm here. Let me know. And I did. I asked her once. I said, what do I do with these cops? And, what? She said, just stay away from the media. She said, stay away from the media. But she was the very first one. And that rings true. I really thought that with my son, here I am advocating for these kids and these crimes. And usually it's for people that are innocent. And I come across this Darlie case, and I get in this little tiff with the family. Right? And I'm advocating hard for her guilt. And then here I am sticking up for all these crime victims, especially kids, and then my son goes and does it. And at first I was like, well, is this a sign of something out of this realm? Like, do you want to know how it feels type of shit? I went through that for a long time. Yeah, because the last thing I ever thought would be is that my son was capable of doing something like that. And right, but everybody loved Luke. He had all the girlfriends. He was a sweetheart. He had his own money. He was never hostile with anybody, and he loved that baby. We saw it. He was with Braden way more than the mother was. Yeah. And so I'm thinking to myself, I thought maybe my older son would get in some kind of trouble, but him, no way. No way. We had not a clue. And I'm out. But my first initial thought is that he's guilty. Yeah. And I came out and I was talking about, he's guilty publicly. And then I had Darlies supporters going, no, don't say that. He ain't been to court. But at first they thought it was funny because they could use it against me. Some like Tracy Monet and Michelle Santiani and a few of the other, Lisa Lamfanska, some of those people. Yeah. I know you're not affiliated with any of them. I got one of my good friends right now is pissed off at me right now for calling the Innocence Project.
It was bad taste. It really was bad taste.
It's nasty. I agree with you. I would agree.
Sometimes old habits die hard, I guess.
Well, you haven't seen some of my other videos, and I'm glad that page is gone now. But it was just, and those videos were getting hundreds of thousands of views because they were parody. And I'm not going to do it this way anymore. So,
You gotta live your life right. You gotta do things the right way. Because otherwise,
right, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling. I can still do this, and I'll just try and take a look at the extremity of how I'm doing it, and I won't try not to use your name so much. But if you're saying this, and it's something, I will say, well,
something that is absolutely incorrect, message me, and you can make your videos. But I'm not able to watch all of them. I don't have enough time to watch.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not going to try to, prevent you from doing that because that's what you want to do.
Well,
something that I have said incorrectly,
yeah.
send it to me in a bullet point, and I will.
I'll do the best. I'll do the best I can now. And now you got to remember, I'm not your enemy, even though I seem like I could be. You know who Saul was in the good book. You know who Saul was. Okay, who did Saul become? He became Paul. So if you guys can show me, if you guys can show me, and as soon as you do, I'll be the first one to say, hey, trust me, I'm not doing this as a game or a one-up, or I don't care if the non-supporters like it when I think something and they don't agree with it. I don't care. I stand on my own. That's all. I just have the platform.
Well, I will tell you right now that you should probably prepare for that.
Oh, yeah.
Because there is a lot going on, and it's going to happen. And I'm only giving you this information because I think you need to maybe prepare yourself for the backlash because you're fixing to jump ship with the haters.
If they give,
There's a lot going on.
if
And that fingerprint
if
is
I,
100% not Darlies. The
if,
Dallas District Attorney's Office has accepted that it is not Darlies.
good. And I'll tell you, if people come at me for a little bit over non-support of Darlie for a while, I'll take it for a little bit. And then I'll be like, okay, I've heard enough. Right? Now what can we do about the state of Texas? What can we do about the Greg Davises? What can we do about lies on the stand? What can those people be convicted of that? Should they be? Yes. That's kidnapping.
Yes, they be held accountable but it's their opinions, but they were presenting their opinions as fact, and that's where it got muddy.
Okay.
But there's nothing we can do about what happened 26 years ago.
Okay. And also know that when I am talking about your TikTok, I am promoting your channel. My views are different in different places, but there are people viewing it. So even if I'm saying, well, she's saying this and that, I say, go see Fugate 1982 on TikTok. I promote your channel. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I want to give them the chance to listen to you. And I see that your views and your likes are great. That's people like you. You're likable. A lot are there for support just because of the crime. I feel like, because no matter who did this, you're still a victim. No matter, when you find out that Darlie didn't do this, you're still going to be the same victim. Right?
Yes.
That's what I understand. I'm not an illogical person. Okay, I was being shitty with the Innocence Project thing. I won't do anything like that again. All right, I won't make any calls. I did call Toby. He hasn't called me back, and I put it. Well, he called me.
Oh, I hope he calls you back. Oh, I hope he calls you
He has called me back before. I just wanted to ask if he talked to the family at all. That's all.
He has not talked to us. I would love to have a conversation with him.
Now, wait a minute, Janelle. I'll tell you, the reason why I wanted to ask him if he ever spoke to the family is because you said that Toby Shook told you to your face that Darlie was lucky to be alive. And I know that.
Say that, and I never said Toby Shook said that.
I got it clipped. I got it. You may have been mad. No. Toby, you.
Santos said that to us, to our face.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Yeah, well, good. I was gonna say because he said it. Yeah, she was lucky to be alive. Either, I'll give you that. Either or, you know what I mean? If from an attack, she's lucky to be alive. If it was self-inflicted staging, she's lucky to be alive because if they wouldn't have got her to Baylor, she could have bled to the point of shock. I know that, but they did get her there in time. So when you guys say that she's lucky to be alive, you're absolutely correct. She could have died. You're absolutely correct. But I don't think the wounds were as bad as you guys portray it. You know what I mean? Because right.
You can't measure the depth of it to determine if it was bad or not. And that's where people get stuck up on it because they think because it wasn't, if it was any deeper, she would have been dead. So to me, any deeper.
Right.
To me, that is significant. That is a life-threatening thing. And he did have to hold pressure on a bleeder that was squirting.
Yep, it said it was digitally. Yep, it said it. I'm starting to learn this medical stuff. Now, before you were a nurse, somebody had to teach you and show you, and you had to be able to look at it. I think I've been through a lot of health things here lately, and I've been WebMD's a no, but Harvard Medical is one that I like to look at, and I really wish that in the earlier parts of my life that I was telling my wife, this medical stuff is fascinating. When you get in there and you start learning how your body does this and what it takes, and I'm in there talking to the doctor like I'm a damn doctor now, because my wife has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. She's got hemiplegia hematrophy on the left side. So I've had to study up about that for 17 years. So this medical stuff is interesting. And that's why I said I do give Danelle props because the word superficial could be used in the way she's saying it. But I think Santos meant it one way, and Dr. Dilwan meant it the way that we all understand it. Superficial.
About Dr. Dillon, he was a resident when this happened.
That's right.
He was very young and impressionable and wanted to be connected in Dallas. And having a good friend in the district attorney's office is always in your favor.
Do you think he'd be willing to disregard the lives of two children and ruin the life? Okay. Okay, that's hard for me to believe that he would. But at the same time, I know how shitty people can be to get to the top. Yeah, I give you that. Yeah.
You've got to climb that ladder, and every prong is just another person you step on.
Right. I work in it. Yeah, I work in something like that now. Well, see, you haven't wasted your time calling me, and I'm glad that in the past, if you would have called me and started F this and F that at me, I would have been right at you. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. We can't learn. I can't learn nothing off of this case if I'm not in touch with someone that knows the innocent side of it better than I do.
It's just so hard to trust anybody that does things like what you just did, because that feels very
backhanded and deceitful, and it feels like a waste of time and energy.
I think what it is I keep seeing the way you describe us, and maybe, but you haven't said anything to me personally, but I keep seeing, when I go back and you got a sarcastic tone about you like I do, and I'm like, so maybe I just felt like being a little snarky, but and again, I wasn't sure if anybody asked you to do that, and then again on our side, to us, it looks like that if you're asking the public for anonymous stuff, that the Innocence Project needs some more help. So to us, it looks like they might not have a whole lot because they wouldn't be asking you to do that, and that's a very logical thing for us to think. I mean,
if you look at everything with a cynical mindset, that's what you're going to see in everything. I'm not a cynical person, so I don't see things that way.
Well, Danelle, if you remember correctly, the Innocence Project and the things that were going on when they took it like 4 years ago, you guys were all hush hush. You didn't want us talking, but now you're asking the public to send in anything they have anonymously. So really, to us, it looks like if they're so sure, then they still, after 4 years, wouldn't be asking this type of question. That's not cynical. That's just a thought that comes to our head. You know.
It feels very cynical to me to look at it that way, but that is how we view things has a lot to do with our life experiences.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. I know. I
the worst of the worst, and I have been exposed to the nastiest comments and the most hateful, judgmental people.
Yep.
I choose not to see things in that light because it's not good for me and it's not good for anybody else.
Well, if we don't question things, we don't find answers, and it really, right. That's what I'm saying. So the question when you did that, the question is, why are they asking for more if we've been told they've got enough?
And I think that in my video, that was so long ago, I don't even remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure that I said in there.
It was around Labor Day.
And needs to go through the Innocent Project.
Yeah, it was around
because there have
Labor Day.
Multiple calls, including Pam Collins calling the CIU. All of that is taking away resources from them doing the work that we want them to do. And as of right now, we have a really solid, strong, healthy relationship with the CIU. We're all on the same page.
Remember,
the Innocent Project, CIU, and the family.
If you remember, Stephen Cooper was talking about when people were flooding his office with anonymous leads, anything they knew, and his exact comment was that it was a waste of his time. That's what Cooper said publicly.
Well, Cooper was not the investigator, and he was working on the legal side of things, and he had a very specific mindset. I don't know what you're talking about, and I can't defend because I don't know, but I can understand that he's a one-man show. He doesn't really, his wife was the secretary.
Jackie. Yeah, Jackie. I talked to her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very much a balancing act. If you've got a legitimate tip, fucking call that bad boy in to anybody that'll listen and keep calling it.
We had supporters that were publicly saying that Darlie Routier would be released in January of 2014. They were posting it all over the groups. Your mom even saw it. So I called Cooper's office, and Jackie answered the phone. And then I talked to her about that, and Jackie was like, 2014, huh? Really? And then we got into a conversation about when Chad Patterson came into the office and tried to help with Darlie's case.
So crazy.
He did. He went in there and he was trying to tell on his dad for not following leads and stuff. So I've been around it long enough to know both sides. I really do. I mean, but so this time hasn't been wasted at all. It really hasn't. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I don't want to have another strained relationship with somebody else. My intentions in this life are not to make enemies. That's always been my intentions. And it hurts my heart for people to not view me in a good light. And so the haters that come from or that are involved in those non-supporter pages, that is very detrimental to me. And if that is going to be commenting on your videos and your posts and your things, then I'm probably not going to participate in most of those
I didn't expect you to, and I can appreciate your candor on that. You're not going to want to look at anything, that's against what you're saying, and that's perfectly normal. It really is.
Not so much. I don't care if somebody has a difference of opinions, but when you attack me and call me a liar, or you talk bad about my mother, or you talk bad about whatever, I'm not
going to put myself in that position because I should not waste my valuable time doing that, defending myself
It
when I'm
won't
not
happen.
here to. I'm here.
I was pushing him by putting that video up of Darren the other day, but he did say Devin one time and Darren the next.
Well, she did call for Darren, and I'm sure that she was telling him Devin's hurt. Like that's the thing. These are so, like, that's not indicative of guilt or innocence. It's just how you remember something,
right?
And how your memory changes over time,
right?
And how you remember things differently 16 years ago, and it's not an indication of guilt.
The thing with circumstantial evidence, they tell us a lot that it was a highly circumstantial case, and it was.
Yeah.
But circumstantial evidence is nothing unless it's compounded with what they feel to be physical evidence. And the way they put it together, like I was able to talk to Max Courtney, that took a part of the carpet out of there, and the misconception is that James Cron just walked right in there and said, "No, Darlie did this," and now we know that that's not the truth.
But that is exactly what he did.
He never said Darlie. What he said was,
No.
"This looks like
We haven't.
Yeah, he said it looks like an inside job.
Yep.
And
Which leaves it to Darlie.
They really did focus on Darren, right? And they
No,
but they didn't, though.
not for very long.
honestly,
Maybe
No.
they took him down to the police station and took pictures of his naked body. Ask him.
That was at the hospital. That was not on the day of the crime.
I thought it was the police station.
Nope, they took pictures of him at the hospital. They spoke to him for probably less than 2 hours.
Right, because he was the strongest person and the only one that was uninjured. So for about 30 minutes, they felt like Darren did it. But when Darlie said, "My husband is not the man I saw," that's when they left that alone.
Yep.
Because in my opinion, what
conversation is enough
to eliminate the suspect?
What would you guys do? And this is hypothetical. What would you guys do if you were able to prove Darlie innocent, but Darren guilty?
Absolutely, whoever did this needs to be held responsible in any way, fashion, or form. And if Darren somehow became responsible willingly or unwillingly, he would have to answer to that.
Wouldn't you think that it's highly likely, since Darren asked multiple people to come into his house, that one of those people that he asked to come into his house actually did?
Ask me that question again.
I said, do you think that since Darren publicly says that he's asked multiple people to come into that home and rob it on an insurance scam, do you think that it's likely that one of those people could be this intruder?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I definitely think that it is a possibility that somebody overheard him talking about having his house robbed and decided to take it into their own hands.
Okay. I heard you say that maybe somebody overheard him. But what I'm saying is he said that he asked multiple people. He went and talked to people he knew and said, "Hey, can you want to help me do this?" Do you think that one of those people could be responsible for this as an intruder? And if you do, I would say that my next move as his sister is to demand that Darren give you the names of those people that he asked to break into his house, because he's never done it. And if anything points away from Darlie, it would be those people that he asked to break into his house. And I don't understand why you guys have not touched on that and demanded that since 2002 when he said that.
Well, you don't know because it has been discussed, and it is, to the best of our knowledge
And to the best of Darren's memory, that the conversation was with Robbie Key. Robbie Key had some really shady characters. Some guy robbed a
coin. I don't even know where he got it from. He robbed a coin collection.
Mm-hmm.
We found out about it afterwards because the guy ended up hiding this coin collection in a broke down car And anyways, long story short,
Grand theft, 1991.
huh?
He was charged with grand theft and convicted in 1991 for a truck on his property.
Who was?
Robbie Key.
Oh, that was all made up by his ex-wife.
Right.
And it was sponge. But that's not even the person I was talking
Oh, I
about.
thought that's what you were talking about. But what I'm talking about is Barry Fife and the
Okay.
and the people and the other guy named Bruce and the Blakely guy. So if now I cannot understand why you. I know that you guys have seen this affidavit that he's written, that he's
Yep.
put it out there that he was doing that. Your focus, in my opinion, should be on. I don't care if you're their father. I want to know the names of these people so we can go get their fingerprints. So we can go
Well, we
talk.
have names, right? I mean, those have been established.
Mhm.
And so, what else would you do with that information?
Well, what the cops are really good at saying, hey, well, your buddy already told you. Get them to talk. You were just saying the other day.
Are not going to help us. And we are very tight on what we can and can't do because
Right. It's unfortunate.
Somebody, then they immediately go on the defense.
Right. And it's very unfortunate that the police won't help you guys today, but they don't talk. They don't like the St. John's either. But I'll tell you, one of the reasons that the police won't help is because they watched you guys for years talk about what a shitty job they did. But put them in a position to have whoever Darren said these people are. Why is he not saying their names?
he did. He definitely gave names. And he definitely dug into his memory to think about anybody. Like, even before he gave that
Affidavit. Darren was physically investigating this case himself. He would drive around.
With a gun. He went back. He went back to their first house while they were the one they were in while they were building. He went back and looked at the screens. He jumped Brian Pardo's fence with his gun and got invited into Pardo's house. Pardo, the one that did the lie detector on it. And you know that guy. I don't give him any credit anymore because look what happened to him. He was a crook.
Yeah. He was the intern. Yeah.
He was a crook, billionaire. He lost everything. He's a crook.
I don't know what happened to him. I don't keep up with those people because they're not part of my life. And it's a waste of my time to watch other people's failures. You cannot be in their feet.
All right. Well, what I'm gonna do is just watch how I do things. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry if I pissed you off.
Let's just be respectful of each other and we can coexist. And if you got a question or a correction, send it to me. If you want to ask me something, send it to me. I will try to be
Diligent in responding to your messages. I cannot guarantee I will respond to any videos just because of
That's fine. I'm not gonna pester you, but I'm not gonna block you either. So if you got something, if you want to yell at me or you get pissed off at me and you feel like you need to scream at me, I'll just let you do it because that's all there is to it. Thanks for calling, Danelle.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm not a screamer normally. So.
I bet you are. I bet you're as mean as your mama.
Actually, I'm quite the opposite of her.
Well, you just keep doing what you're doing, and again, I apologize. I was out of line. How about that?
That works.
All
Well,
right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
bye.
you have a
Bye-bye.
bye.